Welcome to another edition of Whack Wednesday Stories, brought to you by Chumming with the Spirits podcast. We've got JD over here. I'm Parachum, and OG wasn't able to make it today, so we have a replacement, Skellechum, the steampunk bird doctor. I don't know what they would call it. Plague doctor. And, yeah, just coming off of an event last night, and JD was out there all day today, so
got to hang out with some really neat people.
Yep. This story coming to you today, this week, is the story of the Piri Reis Map. You ever heard of that?
Yep.
So, I'm just going to go ahead and start off by reading it. In 1513, Turkish Admiral Piri Reis drew a map of the world, which he had compiled from his collection of approximately 30 ancient maps, which ranged from the time of Alexander the Great to Christopher Columbus, and included some that Columbus charted himself. Piri had taken these Columbus maps from a sailor captured during a sea battle. The gazelle skin map Piri drew contains information that was not known at the time. Greenland was accurately portrayed as two separate islands. Astonishingly accurate coastlines of Africa and North and South America were also present. The Falkland Islands, which wouldn't be founded by Europeans for nearly 100 years later, were included, as well as Antarctica, which wasn't discovered for another 300 years. That's crazy. Later seismic soundings showed the map's geographical detail of Antarctica matched mountains and valleys hidden beneath the continent's mile-thick ice cap. Geographical features that had not been visible since before the last ice age, almost 6,000 years ago. Amazingly, the Piri Reis map displayed an accurate longitude 200 years before instruments to calculate longitude would be available. Most maps of the time were widely out of alignment in their east-west designations. The exceptions were a few maps with grids like spokes on a wheel, of unknown origin. These maps were used by medieval sailors. Notes on various countries were also written on the Piri Reis map. This country is inhabited. The entire population goes naked. This region is on the side where the sun sets. There are 4 kinds of parrots: white, red, green, and black. Racist. Headdress is made entirely of parrots' feathers. In this spot, there are oxen with 1 horn, and also monsters. Today, the Piri Reis map is in Topkapi Palace in Turkey and is not usually on display to the public. This is the first time I've ever heard of this.
You've never?
I mean, I've heard of the Piri Reis map, but I didn't know.
How detailed?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting. I don't know if I'd say whack, because I've known about
this. Pretty whack.
Well, he had multiple, up to 300 different maps that he had collected from ancient and old maps, what he did was he took them all, laid them all out, and so his map is he drew it, but it's a combination of all the maps that he had gotten.
So he had basically done the first 3D scan.
Basically, he took all the old maps, everything that he could find, and what's to me interesting is we don't know what happened to his reference maps, because those would be even more interesting.
Yes.
Because his reference maps are what actually had Antarctica on there, predating the mile of ice that's on it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I find odd. So those maps had to have been thousands of years old, right?
Up to 3,000 years old.
That's pretty crazy.
Which then indicates that at some point in time, well, like you said, Europeans didn't find it. Well, these maps were drawn. It's kind of like Columbus technically didn't find, the Americas. They were already known about by Vikings, by China, this map, that's what a lot of people are going back now and going, well, whatever his reference maps were, wherever he got them from, they knew about these. It wasn't new discoveries; that they're old discoveries. People had already, like the Vikings, had done Greenland and Iceland.
Yep.
And it's well documented now that
They were in America.
yeah, and then Minnesota Vikings. There's Viking runes. That's where that comes from. There's Viking runes found in Minnesota, and there are legends of I believe Eric the Red making it through the Great Lakes, coming down through the Mississippi.
Interesting. The other fact that he basically quantifies what I would consider to be a unicorn.
Yeah, could be a rhino though.
That's true.
Because that's where a lot of people don't understand is like a rhino is a unicorn. There's a certain breed of rhinos that only have one horn. There's some that have two.
Some that have three.
Yeah.
I'm just making that.
Yeah. Triceratops. But no, that's like this map. More research needs to be put into it to see if they can find out whatever happened to his source maps, because his source maps had to be thousands of years old.
Yeah. If they survived.
If they survived, which they may not have. I mean, that's the part of the problem that he may have.
He may have destroyed them.
I don't know if he would have destroyed them, but if they were pretty tattered at the time, that's why he was copying them over, making a unified map.
So what do you think there's actually people still trying to study and quantify, or do you think it's just locked in a storage unit somewhere?
No, I think there's. Well, Turkey's a little weird. They may not allow
archaeological.
Yeah, I mean, because like Göbekli Tepe is in Turkey as well, and they're really slow on that one.
Yeah, Josh just did an episode in the past year or two about that, and the red tape to get things going is very hard.
There's There's a lot more historical stuff in Turkey than a lot of people know. There are possible pyramids that are under that they look like mountains, but could be possible pyramids, but because of the red tape and the government,
it could be burial mounds too.
Yeah,
Interesting. So let us. Oh, yeah, we got to close with the quote. I forgot about that. My bad. This is from Mark Jenkins. Leroy Jenkins. Maps encourage boldness. They're like cryptic love letters. They make anything seem possible. I like that. That's a pretty good one. So let us. Didn't mean to do that. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you've heard of this story before, if you have any stories that you would like to hear that are kind of related to this, let us know. And make sure to like and subscribe.
Be safe out there.
Keep whacking.